What did the wall say to the roof? I'll meet you at the corner. What's going on, YouTube? Today we are capturing a historic moment, also in and amongst all of the other weekend vendors. So as the wall is broken down, Mr. Gorbachev, we are still going to break down our two individual vendors in this video, that being that of the golden vendor and that being of the luxury furnishing vendor. But because the Xbox NA hooligan rascals, we just completed this and the wall is being broken down at this very moment, I wanted to try to capture it live as it came down. As you can see, there's a whole crowd of people watching at different viewing angles to see as things come down. And you can see the wall looks a little jostled. And you're now able to enter the writhing fortress. So you're on Xbox NA, or more than likely, if you're on a different console, I think most of them are either cleared or about to be cleared. You now are able to enter Eastern Solstice and experience the other half of it as well. So I just want to put that at the beginning of this video, just because I think it's super cool. It's kind of one of those things that you're only going to be able to see, once for the first time before, it's gone. And I just think, it's cool to be here around so many other players, even though obviously our vendors are up right now. We'll go review them here shortly. It's just cool, to enter with everybody, It's cool to see how it looks. We're the first people here on server to see this. If you didn't play on PTS, you have no idea what this looks like. So I just, kind of cool to experience. And honestly, if you ever wanted my live reaction and my thoughts on the event so far, this is actually a perfect encapsulation of what I think this event should have had more of. We broke through a specific portion. There's different portals to go through. It's a community event. Some people went left, some people went right. Everybody's trying to reach the Soul Spire. It's happening live. Some of the first people to experience. This is what I think this event should have had more of. I feel like phase 1 and phase 2 were just a bit too repetitive. Should have had more stuff like this. Go into a thing, do some things, kill some things with your fellow players. To me, that is where I think that this event needed more of this. And I think you could have skipped, phase 2 and just had a phase 1 and 3. That we would have gotten some really cool feedback for it versus, where it was a little bit kind of overdrawn. My cat's joining me here for a moment. Just be like, look at this. I'm literally charging across a barrier that's got like a one-shot mechanic. Like, where was this? Like a week ago, Sauce. Like, this is some cool shit. Like, this is what this event, like, if you ever redo this event, kind of learn like what works, like what I think a lot of people will appreciate. Like, everybody that I'm talking to right now is super excited to see these cool things come up. Like, this is what an invasion looks like, and re-invading the other side. Like, these are the boss fights that I want to see. I want to walk into a room and see a Daedra that is a skyscraper. I want to fight Godzilla, not be crafting iron daggers every day for 2 weeks, please. That's another big boy right there. That's another big one right there. I love these are the fights I wanted to see all along. I love that you just run into the middle of something, smack it with a hammer, and you're like, yep, that is the most powerful thing ever destroyed in the entirety of Tamriel. You just whack it with the old hammer ham. Honestly, in retrospect, I'll talk about it while we go to our vendors here. I really enjoyed that. I think that if they stick to that play pattern more with this types of content, I think this would be fantastic. If they're ever interested in kind of doing any sort of like PvE instance-based thing where my light turns out, I think that's a good formula. Just don't have us repeat making iron daggers 1,000 times. Do more big cinematic boss fights with ballistas and all sorts of cool stuff, and I'm in, I'm in. And now, everybody, our golden vendor here. Unfortunately, our light ran out of juice awkwardly, so dark mode. So this is also going to be blind because we spent so much time doing the actual event there because it popped 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Now I'm like, oh shoot, we got to go back. So we have ourselves some more Brotherhood stuff. Now, Dark Brotherhood stuff is always a bit loosey-goosey in the sense that value-wise, it's a bit all over the place. Some of it is exceptionally valuable. Most of it is hot cross buns. We this week have a lot of the hot cross buns. Yes, there are some things. Look, this is 30,000. I buy for 25, sell for 30 on average. This is just 4 to 6. Unfortunately, a lot of these are going to be hard to sell. I will say this ledger stand, I think, is being really brought down by the average that some people were just dumping them. And as far as this new item, I think it does look cool. People probably use it as a building item. Potentially a couple of these will resell in the future. None of these are really jumping out at me saying, oh, go buy these. And we are now at our traditional golden vendor. I'm going to try to go through this guy a little bit faster than normal, just so this video doesn't become too long. I don't have any Subway Surfer gameplay footage to kind of keep your attention span for the rest of this video. But Automaton comes from Darkshade Caverns 1 and 2, gives you crit chance, max stam, weapon and spell, 400 weapon and spell damage to your physical and bleed damage abilities. Now, this set used to be very, very popular. 400 weapon and spell damage back in the day used to pretty much be the most you could hope for most types of things. Now, I would say this is the definitional set of good. You don't have to proc it like Clever Alchemist, but the problem is that, yes, Clever Alchemist is, going to give you more and a significant amount more, and it's got a better 2 through 5, but it's not always got an uptime. So yes, sets like Clever Alchemist are the 9 or 10 out of 10 best PvP sets in the game because how much weapon and spell damage they give you, how easy they are to proc, they're 2 through 5. This is the definitional 7 out of 10 set. It's good. You could build it. 400 weapon and spell damage to your physical and bleed damage abilities easily could be used, especially on a Stamplar. But you're just going to get better value out of so many 8s, 9s, and 10 out of 10 PvP sets. And for PvE, you just know. Next up is an Overland set, Death Dancers. Now, you can see by its value is it has been farmed. And that's just because a lot of people were farming that zone. If you stam crit chance, stam recovery adds 1528 crit chance while you have 50% or more stamina, and reduces the cost of your core abilities by 23% while you have less than 50% of your stamina. If you don't know what a core ability is, that's like dodge, roll, sprint, blah, 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 all those stuff like that, bashing, etc. This is a set that's really interesting because most people maintaining 50% or above stamina is actually not going to be that difficult. And 1528 crit chance is actually pretty good. The problem is it just doesn't stand up to traditional max crit sets like Mother Sorrow. Or Leviathan, why would you just run that? And why? That's the problem a set like this runs into. Yes, it's cool, it's unique, you could stack those sets. Problem is you don't need to do that. But I do like flavorful sets like this, so I will still give it a 7. Yes, there are your Mother Sorrows, your Leviathans, even your Medusas that are probably arguably better than this, but it's flavorful. Give it a 7. It's a good set, just not something that I would recommend. Next up from Frostvault is Icy Conjurer. It gives you max stam, weapon and spell, offensive penetration. Applying a minor debuff to your enemy summons a non-reflectable ice wraith that will charge your enemies, dealing 15,800 frost damage over 10 seconds. This can occur once every 10 seconds. It is super easy to proc and get yourself some minor debuffs on your enemies. From that aspect, it's pretty neat, but the problem is 1580 over 10 seconds. If you do the math, move the 0 over, it's not very much damage per second. Yes, you get a bar of offensive penetration, so you could use this probably more for PvP because penetration is more important for PvP. So it's potentially damage over time, so the PvE players do also love damage over time. The problem is this set just gets outclassed by everything. Most people won't know this set exists. You're like, there's a set that makes a reflectable ice wraith that charges your enemies. That sounds dope. It would be if it did more damage. I'll give it a 6. I really wish this set was better, but 1.5k damage per second over 10 seconds is about the same as if you slapped an enemy with a wet pool noodle and then gave them a wet loogie. Like you're just not dealing enough damage. Speaking of not dealing enough damage, from the Gold Coast, we have the Roly Poly set. You can tell by its value, not really a good one. Gives you max health, armor, max stam, stam recovery. It's got a 5-piece that is not attached to its damage, so we love to see that. We love 2 5-piece bonuses. When you roll dodge through an enemy, you deal 2250 physical damage and knock them down for 3 seconds. I tried so hard to make a PvP build with this where you would roll through your enemies and it would be funny. It's funny to your enemies after they absolutely slaughter you and then realize that you were trying to use one of the goofiest sets in the game. This set is like a 5. It is not making you worse, but maybe it's a 4, because if you take this to PvP, the best you can hope for is to waste a bunch of stamina to roll into your enemies and to stun them. Do you know in 2025 with subclassing, you could stun your enemies with so many other things that don't require you to put your crotch or put your face where their crotch is? You don't got to worry about all that. So this set is a 4. unfortunately. I love this set. I tried to use this set and make it good. It's 2 through 4, and then it's the stamina recovery 5 pieces. It's not offensive, but how am I supposed to make this work? Next up, we have the monster set from Coral Eerie. It's 1 piece, is max mag and max stamp. Don't be fooled by that. You could literally get better value from the Spindle Clutch 2 monster set there, which will give you the same things, but more of those resources. And then 2 piece on dealing damage with a heavy attack. You know people love heavy attacks. You create a 6-meter whirlwind that slowly moves forward for 8 seconds, growing by 3 meters every 3 seconds. It deals some shock damage, some physical damage, and while group members reduce their magical and stamina cost by 10%, this can occur once every 20 seconds. This is such a weird set. Its 1 piece is easily outclassed by Swarm Mothers. Its 2 piece is just odd because here's the thing, right? Like most hurricanes, they move, and your enemies generally don't stay in the center of your hurricane. Now, getting a cost reduction is not offensive. The problem is it's just doing too many things. You get max stats from its 1 piece, which most PvE players don't really care about. Then as its 2 piece, you're creating a whirlwind, which PvE players can kind of work around, but there's just so many things going on here. It is still arguably a good set. I wouldn't even say it's a great set. I'll give it an 8 because it does enough to be good and great. The problem is that there are so many other sets that edge this out. There are mythics, other monster sets. You're just never going to use a set like this realistically unless you're doing something exceptionally specific. And for that, could you use a set like this. Support characters may want to own this, but again, just run core early. If you're a support hooligan, just go do the dungeon. You get the monster set for free because that's where the helmets drop. Veteran, actual dungeon that drops from. Do it on veteran, you get for free. Shoulders, you end up using your Undaunted keys. Realistically, generally, you want to buy your PvE heads that are solo players that need that physical set, or a PvP player that's probably not interested in actually running a dungeon. If you're a support character, go and get this bad boy. Next up is from Shipwright's Regret. Now, unlike the dungeon name, you will regret nothing by owning this set. It gives you 1 piece max health, 2 piece. When you use an ultimate ability, the closest 6 enemies within 12 meters all have their major and minor debuffs applied to them extended by 1 second per 20 ultimates spent. This effect can occur once every 30 seconds per target. This is a fantastic support set. You're not going to be guaranteed to use this in every type of support content, and it is niche in some respects, like support characters, like solo characters aren't going to run this. You may not run this in most like 4-man groups, but this is a set that the majority of support characters should own. Tanks sometimes run this, healers sometimes run this. Sometimes you slap it on a DPS if you need to. It's a set that you should own if you want to get into endgame content. It's one of those sets that I just say, yeah, you should own. I'm going to give it a 10 out of 10 because it is one of the only sets that does anything like this. So whenever you think to yourself support sets, generally it needs to do something specific. Give a unique buff like Zens. That's unique. Somebody's got to be able to do that. Most content people want to have a Zen's DK or a Zen's wearer. It's the same where you may be like, we need somebody to run this set. And honestly, because of that, I'm going to give it a 10 out of 10. I think it stood the test of time. I think it still gets used. It's not always guaranteed to be run, but that doesn't necessarily mean that it's not one of these sets that people think, do I need this for this piece of content? And when you're in that discussion, for me, you're the best of the best. It's just determining, do we need its effect in this trial? We know it's the best at extending major and minor debuffs. It's just, do we need it in this specific piece of content? Same like when you're making a PvP character. Do I need the best sustain set in the game? Do I need Wretched Vitality? Well, you might not. That doesn't mean it's still not the best 10 out of 10 sustain set in the game, in my opinion. If there's a better one, let me know. But to my knowledge, is the best one. But obviously run Shipwright's Regret. However, thank you guys so much again for watching. I'm going to do a couple videos this weekend. I'm finally done rearranging some things. I just need to get my lights obviously situated here. Working on debating on how I want to balance the audio a little bit more. So if you have any thoughts on the audio in this video, please let me know in the comments below. Thank you guys so much again for watching. You guys are fantastic. We're doing our 3 giveaway drawings. All you need to do to enter is leave a comment, comments below / like on the video. Second thing is just make sure you subscribe. We hit 34,000 subscribers, which is a huge milestone. It's going to have its own dedicated video with some special stuff attached to it. So if you have any questions you want me to answer in that video, any Q&A, ESO related questions, ZOS related questions, anything at all, put them in that video and I'll answer it in that upcoming 34K special. And the third thing is, look for a hidden word we put on the video. If you're the first person to find and comment that word, you will win. It could be on the title, it could be in the description, it could be somewhere flashed upon the screen, but there's at least one per month. And if we do a dedicated YouTube sponsor, we will do 2 hidden words this month. So thank you one last time. Have a fantastic Friday. I'm off to pre-release for Avatar, and I'll catch you later. Bye, guys.
You better remember to like and subscribe to Jakeclips. Or you should. I might have to pluck your eyes if you don't. Or, better yet, I'll skip rope with your entrails. Do it now. Subscribe. Ta-ta. Off with you.